On June 11, 2017 at E3, Bethesda announced the Creation Club, a platform through which users on PC, PS4, and Xbox One will be able to purchase content for Skyrim and Fallout 4 made by Bethesda Game Studios, third-party developers, and quote, the best community creators, in partnership with the Bethesda Softworks. Already, we needed to define some terms, and I have a handy flowchart. Bethesda Softworks, this is the game publishing arm of ZeniMax Media Incorporated, aka the corporate weenies and lawyer monkeys. Bethesda Game Studios, think Todd Howard and the team that creates the Fallout and Elder Scrolls series of games, also a division of ZeniMax, just like id Software and Arcane Studios. The distinction here is subtle but significant. The Game Studios is involved in the Creation Club, but not in charge of it. Softworks is running the show here. If you are complaining about this system or game pricing, focus on Softworks or their corporate overlords at ZeniMax. If you're angry about specific game design choices, that's the Game Studios. From here on out, when I mention Bethesda, I'm talking about Bethesda Softworks, and I'll be very specific when talking about the Game Studios as needed. A trip through the Wayback Machine is warranted here. In 2015, Bethesda announced a partnership with Valve to have paid modding on the Steam Workshop. It was a short-lived disaster due to Bethesda's lack of curation, and it was rife with piracy, fraud, and crappy overpriced mods that even crashed some players' games. Thankfully, it was ended very quickly. I will note that the hate from some of the modding community towards certain mod authors who took part in this endeavor was an absolute disgrace. A year later, Bethesda announced Bethesda.net and the birth of console modding. Initially, once again due to lack of curation by Bethesda, it suffered from mod piracy and the abuse of mod authors on their website. Thankfully, much of that has been resolved, and Bethesda even brags of having over 300 million mod downloads since its start. That's a huge source of potential revenue for the company if properly utilized, and they would be fools for not tapping into it. So, back to the present and the Creation Club. Already, many wailing and crying that this is a return to paid modding. Let's get this out of the way right now. It is not paid modding. It is downloadable content, aka DLC, and here's the difference. A mod is a creation from a non-Bethesda associated software developer, aka mod author, from the Nexus or other source that is offered to the community for personal use. They cannot charge a fee for this piece of software due to the limitations of the user agreement from Bethesda. A DLC is official content from Bethesda. It is the sole property of the company and they can charge a fee for its use or not, depending on the wishes of Bethesda. What is coming out of the Creation Club is DLC. I'll chalk up a lot of this confusion to the PR team from Bethesda for using doublespeak as they overcomplicated this issue. Come on, guys, use some common sense. Stop letting the lawyers muck up the message. They should have just called it DLC and left it at that. Before we start getting into details, I want to make a philosophical point. Mods and DLC for Bethesda games are derivative work. Its relative worth is entirely dependent on the intellectual property, or IP, owned by Bethesda, in this case Skyrim or Fallout 4. I know many of you will argue that the creation of a mod has its own rights, and you would be correct. But without the game it's derived from, it has no value on its own in an open marketplace. On the Bethesda Creation page, it states that Creation Club is a collection of all new content for both Fallout 4 and Skyrim. It features new items, abilities, and gameplay created by Bethesda Game Studios and outside development partners, including the best community creators. Creation Club content is fully curated and compatible with the main game and official add-ons, clearly defining it as DLC. Let's break this down. Bethesda Game Studios means the in-house guys writing content just as they always have, whether it's Dawnguard and Hearthfire for Skyrim or Far Harbor Automatron and the Workshop components for Fallout 4. Outside development partners, third-party software developers, none of which have been announced so far, but I can see a fair number of small companies or groups wanting to get in on the action. Best community creators. This is a clear reference to mod authors. We already have word of involvement from some notable names. In other words, 3 potential groups: in-house salary guys, third-party software groups or companies, and independent individuals. According to my sources in the mod author community, the plan goes something like this. Third parties and independents will apply to join the club by showing their resume or portfolio. Bethesda will judge if they're worthy of inclusion in the club based on the quality of work and past performance. For mod authors, factors like reputation, number of downloads, quality, and the type of mods will be considered. From then on, they need to present proposals for each of the products they wish to produce. They will be treated as professionals and should conduct themselves as such. That means presentations, plans, documentation, etc. Once the proposal is accepted by Bethesda, they will be presented with a contract clearly laying out compensation, milestones, and expectations, just like any other independent contractor in many other industries. Compensation will be broken up into parts, a portion at startup, and further payments upon reaching established milestones and on completion of the project. Along the way, they'll have to work with Bethesda on quality assurance, testing, and compatibility, just as the FAQ mentions on the Creation Club page. Failure to meet those expectations or milestones will result in payments being ceased and the project will be canceled. All work done to that point becomes Bethesda property, as it was created under contract using monies from Bethesda. There's nothing groundbreaking here, folks, just normal business practices. You'll notice I've made no mention of these outside parties or individuals getting a percentage of each download, or royalties, and that is because I believe that is not part of the plan, but I freely admit I have no evidence to back that up. But here's why I say that. Number 1, Bethesda is putting money up front, with no guarantee of completion. They are buying a product based on an idea sight unseen and taking the monetary risk. In return, they are getting sole possession of a product for sale. Happens all the time in multiple industries. Number 2, you'll notice that the Bethesda game studios will be creating content for the Creation Club. These are the salary guys. Why complicate internal matters by potentially writing checks to outside groups or individuals for royalties that would be unavailable to their own people? There is one caveat, however. While I believe there is no royalty system involved here, it is possible that a milestone in the contract could be defined as a certain number download threshold being achieved. Think of it like a bonus, and that would make a lot of sense. For example, the creator could receive additional payments if the DLC is purchased 50,000 times, 100,000 times, etc. Also, it is reasonable to think that a similar system would exist for the Bethesda game studio teams to get performance bonuses when creating purchasable DLC. That's all I can give you so far about the process. There is some speculation on my part, but without more solid information, I cannot elaborate further. Here's the good that I can see coming from this. More people can make some money from making content. I've long been an advocate for mod authors to be compensated for their efforts. Here's an avenue for doing so. It may not cover everyone, but it is a start. Considering prior efforts at paid modding, this DLC cooperative from Bethesda may be our best choice for now. I think they've learned the valuable lessons from prior fiascos, and it sounds like they are serious about making this work for everyone involved. The PS4 workaround. The limitations that Sony placed on console mods, i.e., no external assets, no new strips, etc., are based on licensing agreements, and would be bypassed by the Creation Club. It is official DLC, fully vetted by Bethesda, so Sony's requirements would be satisfied and PS4 owners would now have a much wider array of added content for their games. More and better DLC. Whenever you expand a talent pool, you get more and better ideas. This facilitates that. I don't believe for an instant that all we are going to get is some crab armor or backpacks or the like as DLC. I foresee larger things coming down the road. TrainWiz has already stated that he has been involved in the Creation Club for a while now, and that, quote, "There's actually some pretty damn neat stuff happening. Actual cool stuff. With features." On the subject of notable mod author involvement, Chesko has been silent lately and is rumored to be on vacation. I have not contacted him, but I remember the reason for his last vacation. I'm just saying. Gopher mentioned in his video on this topic about the possibility of companies like Obsidian joining in. Well, There have been rumors of their desire to produce another Fallout spin-off like New Vegas for the Fallout 4 engine for quite some time now, so I agree. There is potential of a DLC like that in the future. Better mods in the free modding community. I know it sounds counterintuitive, but the prospect of money is a great incentivizer. You may put more effort into your modding when presented with the idea that if you create great mods, you'll have a choice to someday get paid by Bethesda to make DLC. This doesn't apply to everyone as motivations vary for why people create mods, but it could inspire a fair number of people. There are already exceptions where creators have said that they are not interested in the money and will keep their work as free content. Most notably, the teams that are working on Skywind and Skyblivion have come out and said that they have no intention of joining the Creation Club. I now want to address arguments against the Creation Club presented since its announcement. This is the end of free modding. They're going to shut down the Nexus. No, just stop. It's not the end of the world and the sky is not falling. Stop being so dramatic. Bethesda made an effort on the Creation Club page to address this, even if in the end they mucked up the message. It is not in Bethesda's best interest to shut down the free modding community. First off, I believe that they have no intention of taking on a large number of mod authors into the Creation Club. The amount of resources and money needed to handle that would be immense, considering the necessities of the proposal process, curation, quality control, testing, etc., etc., etc. It's likely we will only see a small number of mod authors, the best of the best, being accepted at any one time. Also, why shut down what I'll call, for a lack of a better term, the minor leagues? New hot mod authors come and go all the time. If Bethesda wants this to be a long-term revenue source extending into future games, you leave the modding community intact and only pluck out select authors as new talent presents themselves. They will have had prior experience with the modding tools, which eliminates the need for expensive and time-consuming training. Also, there is no evidence that Bethesda can or wants to force individuals that participate in the Creation Club from making free mods that are dissimilar from that which they made for the company. It's just not going to happen. Much of what they're banking on is the reputation of the individual mod authors in the community to push sales of their created DLC. For example, imagine how well a weapon pack of, say, 20 new guns from Millennia would sell for Fallout 4, based solely on his reputation for Weapons of the New Millennia mod from Fallout New Vegas. Bethesda's just greedy. They'll exploit the mod authors and pay them slave wages. No one is forcing an independent contractor to do anything. They are free to negotiate for a better deal. Want to be treated as professional software designers? Act like it. Negotiate for better contract by making your case. Show them that you'll make Bethesda lots of money. It's what they care about. If the terms of the contract are still unfavorable in their opinion, they have two choices. Number one, take the contract, produce a quality product, on time and within expectations. Then the next time you propose a product to Bethesda, you show them the numbers and how much you made for them last time and demand more. Or use it as part of your resume to take your talents elsewhere. Real world here, folks. It's how things work. Number two, you walk away. Yep, walk out of negotiations. Take your carefully documented proposal, make your mod for free, publish it on the Nexus, and get nothing. Zero. Zilch. Nada. This is the free market here. If you don't like the terms you're offered, you don't have to take it. Simple as that. As a side note, you always have your ideas well documented, thereby protecting them from IP theft, right? Right? People are just going to pirate them and put them up for free elsewhere. This one makes me laugh. ZeniMax is famous for its lawyering in the gaming industry. If you think they're going to stand by and watch their product be stolen, you are truly delusional. Wah! I've always gotten my mods for free and I'm going to burn everything down if I don't get my free shit. Good luck with that, Snowflake. If you don't want what Bethesda's selling, don't buy it. Let's face it. Many people out there feel entitled to the hard work of others. Just because you are unwilling to allow people to do what they want, earn some money, and be successful by making DLC for Bethesda, it doesn't mean that the rest of us have to fall in line with your bullshit. Let's wrap this up. I'm in favor of the Creation Club. Overall, it sounds like it could work. Is it a perfect solution? No, nothing ever is. Life is about compromises, and this strikes me as an acceptable one. No one likes change, not even me, but sometimes change is inevitable. The status quo in this case was untenable and patently unfair. If you're part of the PC modding community, the impact is going to be minimal. This is aimed mainly at the console market. If you don't like the offerings from the Creation Club or object to the whole thing based on principle, I encourage you not to buy anything from it. This will force Bethesda to make better products or shut the whole thing down. The marketplace will dictate the Creation Club's success or failure, not your feigned internet outrage. So put away your torches and pitchforks, we aren't there yet. In the end, we just have to face reality and accept it. And if you don't like it, don't play.